Everything seems to be rolling. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Mornings with Manny. I do this every single Monday to share a couple of tidbits that I've learned or am learning, and just wanted to relay it to the people of MiamiNetworking.com. Today is April 20th, and it's another beautiful day here in Miami. And so this is a presentation I've done before. One time I did a presentation called LaughWise, and it was how to sell anything except time. So I kind of just added a couple new ideas to this, revamped it a little bit and shortened it. So if anyone out there ever wants to connect your products and services to the wants and needs of your customers, this is a very simple and sophisticated way to do so. So to get started, let's point something out that not many people know because it's very counterintuitive. And that is that your products and services are actually in the way. So your skills, your talents, the reason you get into business, you're stating that you're able to solve a problem. However, the reality is that the products and services that you develop are actually an obstacle. So if I were to say that I had the solution to your problem, and I put a price tag on it and you got to drive to go get it, or you got to send me an email or visit a website, that's kind of a nuisance. I just want the result right now. And whenever you get into business, you have to figure out how to give your customers a direct result. And the more convenient, the better. But if there's these little obstacles in the way, your business or whatever it is that you offer is not very beneficial to them. It deters people from getting their desired results, which occurs after the consumption of your products and services. So my friend Helen is in the chat. She's a professional belly dancer and she sells an e-course. And in the e-course, she shows you the techniques, the forms, even how to be fit as a belly dancer. However, people are going to have to go through the product, the trainings in order to get the desired results of being pro belly dancer. So it's going to take some time, which is the obstacle. So the desired result is within it, but the product itself is the obstacle to get the desired result. So what I want to show you here is how to fill the gap between what you're offering and what the customer wants. So what you communicate in your marketing is what activates the decision-making process of your potential customers. The communication is the wordings you use, the layout of the message, the design. What kind of emotions are you eliciting whenever you try to kind of like tell someone why the results that they're looking for is embedded within your product or service? And most of the time, businesses focus on talking about the ones conducting the service or showing the logos or trying to brand themselves or talking about the product itself. And it's easy to overlook that what your customers are really seeking are the results itself. So to fill the gap, the best practice you can do is you look at your product or service objectively. Don't fall in love with it when you're doing this process. Don't think of all the hard work you did. Don't worry about anything that went in the back end to get it done and completed. What you want to do is you want to look at it and you want to think about the person that's going to benefit the most from it. What do they want? What are the results they're intending for? What is the reason they pull out their wallet to buy it? And all these little details come together and it'll help you communicate the message because you're touching directly into the reason why they want that result. So understanding your potential customers. Here I'm just breaking down a very generic trio of customers that are out there. And those are the ones that are actively seeking solutions, that are motivated. And this can go from a degree of somewhat understanding the solution to 100% understanding it. So there's varying degrees of how deep people are in motivation to find the solution. There's also those that are passively seeking it. Like, okay, yeah, I want that. I'll come around to it eventually, just not right now. And then there's those that are unaware of the problem completely. And when they come around to it or they see a message that's very well written for the intended results, they were like, I didn't even know I needed this that bad. I need this. I need to get this. And another aspect of understanding potential customers that I would like to point out is, some people out there are more bored than they would like to admit. Social media will give you a completely different sense of that. But I think it's very normal as a human being to just be underwhelmed with certain aspects of your life. We're very hedonistic in nature and we always want more. And we're always going to have those moments where you're just bored. And you're like, what's next? What can I do next? And because of that, people can live an entire life without being fully understood. Your family can understand you one way, your friends can understand you another way, but to be fully understood is a rare commodity to happen for an individual. And because of this potential gap that your potential customers may have, you might want to look at your products and services to realize that you can kind of tap into that want and need that many don't like to admit. It's kind of like a private secret life that no one really talks about in public. Find a way for your products or service to kind of tap into that hidden area of their thinking. And one way to do that is you've got to listen, and you got to be really good at listening. And it's not just someone talking to you face to face, it's listening to the market. If you go to Reddit forums and you just read what people are saying about a particular industry, or what comments are being listed underneath a product that you see on Facebook, for example, or a video, or in YouTube, or whenever you go to a networking event and someone just talks to you and you tell them, it's like, okay, I do this for a living. Listen to the feedback that they give you and look for those little nuances in their words and what emotions come up. And in the book, Just Listen by Mark Goldstein, there's a saying here that just goes perfect with what I'm trying to relay, is that be more interested than interesting. So rather than like pushing your product to people, listen and be interested in what people are saying about it before you go and try to make it interesting. Because when you do try to attempt to do that, you're going to have a better sense of what to say and how to make it come off. So don't focus on what you can say to your customers, but rather what they can say to you. And every detail that you uncover about the needs and wants of your potential customers should be directly linked to your product or service. Sorry, so in this slide, we're going to go a little deeper, get to know your products and services and uncover the deep results that it can deliver. This is also a very counterintuitive way, but I must admit, when it comes to the things that I've done in business, once I started applying this kind of communication in my marketing is when things really started to turn up, because you'd be surprised at how some of the most mundane discoveries of the results that your product or service can offer. And when you relay it out there, people will read it and be like, how did you know? How did you know that? It feels like you're just talking to me and me only. And that feeling of exclusivity makes them feel like your product or service is like, where has it been all my life? And that is a very compelling feeling in order to give a connection to your customers with your brand. So go past the obvious results. Sometimes you just go as deep as you can and you might uncover these gems of words. You may think your products and services can deliver, but dig much deeper for more kinds of motivations. So I'll give you an example here. If I was in real estate, and, sometimes I say to myself, if I was a marketer and I got into real estate, I'd probably make a killing. If you sell homes, for example, is it just for people to have a place to live, or is it to save a marriage? Right? Is a husband looking to get a brand new home to hopefully reinvigorate his love life? Is it the low prices, or is it because they want to show off their new home to their relatives? Do you see what I'm saying? So these little hidden motivators that not many people are tapping into in an industry separates you from all the other real estate agents, because you're not just saying, look how great this home is. Look at the price. Look how beautiful it is. You'd be like, are you having marriage trouble? Well, wait until your wife sees this brand new house. Someone out there is going to be like, yo, how did you know? And the more potentials you can uncover about what you have to offer, the better you are at communicating the results to your customers' deep desires. And these desires are extremely powerful motivators, and it'll cause people to buy more because you're going really in depth to what they want rather than the generic outlook that the others are having in your market. So to kind of help you figure this part out in a very simple way is look at the difference between the features, the advantages, and the benefits that your product or service has. And a feature is what's included with the purchase. Like if you get this, these are some of the things that are within it. An advantage is what those features do, okay? And a benefit is a direct result based from what your customer states is needed just for them. So, you know, if you go buy a car, and to be honest, I've been there. You go buy a car and you say, I'm looking for a car with really good mileage. And then the salesman goes, well, this car right here has rims. Look how awesome these rims come. These rims alone are $2,000 and they're included with the price of the car. It's like, you're not listening to me. I'm not interested in rims. I want a car with really good mileage. And then he's like, but it's got this limited edition aluminum color in the front. It kind of looks like a DeLorean. If you look at it really quickly, it's like, dude, you're not getting me. So to kind of go even deeper on this example is like, okay, so a feature of a car is an air conditioner. Okay. An advantage is that it cools the car when it's hot, right? The benefit is keeping your family cool for hours during the summer when you road trip to your beach house. So if I were to go again to a car salesman, I say, you know, I just need something that will make my family really comfortable, because every summer the drive to this beach house that I own, it can be such a hassle. And you know, that used to be a big vacation for me, and now it's ending up becoming something that I despise when it's time to go there. And then as a salesman, be like, well, I've got the answer for you. You just need an SUV that has these little air conditioning ducts right above each and every single seat, so it keeps your family cool for hours. There's plenty of space. You can even fit a dog in here in between, and there'll still be plenty of space. So what you're doing is you're combining the feature, the advantage, and you're stating it as a direct benefit to what your customer is stating it needs, he or she needs. So a recommended read, Spin Selling by Neil Rackham. This book changed the game for me. And if you know the spin method that Neil Rackham has uncovered, you can pretty much sell anything, because your customers are doing the selling themselves. And that's a good position to put your customers in, because, you know, I've been in many situations where the customer just isn't convinced because they have a story in their head. And even though what you're offering can help them, but the story in their head prevents them from benefiting. And there's a quote here to kind of summarize the whole book as a whole, I guess, is if you can get the customer to tell you the ways in which your solution will help, then you don't invite objections. Customers react more positively if they are treated as the experts. Okay, so SPIN is an acronym for situation, problem, implication, and need payoff. Now, these are labels of questions that you ask during a selling proposition or a meeting to uncover on how to make your customer feel like he or she is the expert in the sales process. So here's a diagram. We're not going to go too deep into it since you guys are unfamiliar. For those that haven't read it, are unfamiliar with the process. So I'm going to break these down. So again, situation questions, problem questions. Now the problem implies the needs that they want. Then you ask the implication questions, then the need payoff. Then you get an explicit need. Then you tap into the benefit. So to break it all down, situation questions is asking what the situation is from the potential customer. You don't want to be in here too long. This is kind of like the formalities part of the questions. You know, if you stay here too long, your customer's probably going to get agitated. It's like, all right, dude, why are you here? Like, are we going to get to this or not? But you just kind of want to know, you know, how things like how long has this person been running this business? And are there any partners? How many employees do you have? How much money do you make in a year? so on and so forth. Situation. Now, the problem questions allow your potential customer to describe the problem to you. Okay, like the reason why you're there is, okay, man, so I'm here. This is what I'm offering. What's the problem? Most of the times, most of the times the customer will only describe the problems from just their perspective, one angle, the stuff that's on the surface. And you can start to match your product or service to that. But if you want to take it even further, Neil Rackham suggests you ask implication questions. Show them why it needs to be solved. Like, man, you got to get this handled as soon as possible. Do you think if you don't get this handled soon, this is going to happen? So implication questions are the kinds of questions that shows the potential customer the real source of the problem that they may have overlooked. For example, if the problem were to persist for a long time, or how it affects their systems. So for example, let's say if you were to be selling point of purchase POS machines for a bar, and the POS machines, it's laggy, it's taking a while, it's kind of like clunky, and maybe your bartenders aren't able to, conduct a transaction quickly. For him, that's the problem. It's like, man, this POS machine is point of sale. That's it. Point of sale machine is, it's so laggy. It's just annoying. My bartenders aren't enjoying it. It's like, do you think your bar will be negatively affected in the long run if you keep this POS machine around, because your bartender will be too busy trying to make the sale when there's other people trying to buy more beverages at your bar? Don't you believe that maybe you need something a little bit faster with a more easy to use interface? That's an implication question, because you're kind of like going deeper into the problem that they may have overlooked. So for them, it's the lag, but the implication question highlights that it might be costing more money by not getting more sales. And so the need payoff is where this is kind of like the money part of the sales process, because this is the question that makes your customer feel like it was his or her idea the whole time. You don't want to be like teaching your customer. You want them to make it feel like they're teaching you. So rather than explaining to your clients how your product or service can solve their problem, have them state it with a need payoff question. So a need payoff question leads potential customers to the solution within your product or service on their own. You can make it so that they feel it was their idea to use your services the whole time. So for example, you can say, if you were to get what kind of a POS machine would you like? One where the machine has to be put in by the customer, like you have to input the 4-digit PIN, or would you like one with a keyboard, with a nice keyboard on it? Or would you think maybe a touchscreen one would be the fastest way to go? And they would be like, yeah, a touchscreen one would definitely speed up the sales of my bar. And then, well, I have just that in my arsenal. What are the odds? Look at that. And then you present them the touchscreen POS machine that you have, and you start showing them how fast it is. And since they verbally stated this is what they want, you're pretty much just showing it to them. You're not selling it to them anymore. They sold themselves. And that position is a great way to kind of make more sales happen. And that's it. That's the spin method. I highly recommend you check out Just Listen and Spin Selling by Neil Rackham. If you're into any sort of business whatsoever, finding out these little details about your customers and what they want and need and how you're able to connect your product or service to them will dramatically increase the revenues of your business. Okay, this is a very overlooked process that a lot of business owners may find counterintuitive. Too many people spend too much money on branding and marketing how good their services and products are, and they completely forget that the real decision makers are your customers and the desired results that they want. So just a couple of updates on miaminetworking.com. On May 24th, I'm going to be having an event called Meet the Makers of Miami. So if you identify yourself as a difference maker here in our city, and this is a very generic label. So if you're into arts and crafts, if you're a business owner, if you're developing yourself as a human being, if you want to connect with other people that are growing, any kinds of people like this in our city, I invite you to join us May 24th. It's going to be a virtual networking event. You can message me on miaminetworking.com, or you can email me at manny@miaminetworking.com. And if you'd like to talk to me about anything, I'm available right now. Since we're in the middle of the pandemic, I just want to connect with people and kind of see where you are, especially if you're a local here in Miami. You could set up a phone call with me or via Zoom. Just visit miaminetworking.com/meeting so I can get to know you better. All right. I'll see you on the next episode of Mornings with Manny every Monday, 10:30 a.m. Bye. Thank you for watching this video from miaminetworking.com. If you did enjoy this video, do give us a like, leave us a comment, and subscribe to our channel. Also, if you're seeking to make a connection with the people in Miami that want to make a difference, visit miaminetworking.com and start your free profile today.